What's going on, everybody? Today is Thursday, August 8th, 2013. I'm Kevin Sixen Carlino, and this is the 16th episode of my Blizzard All-Stars informational series. Now, it's been quite some time since I've done an episode, and I feel like I've said that for like the last 3 or 4 episodes, but what are you going to do? There's only so much information we have to work with. I'm still crossing my fingers for information soon. Good news is, we actually have a screenshot of the score screen from Rob Pardo. Now, he actually posted this back in February, but it kind of went unnoticed for the longest time. Somebody posted it up in the Blizzard All-Stars Reddit, and I saw it a couple weeks ago, but I've been kind of busy just finishing up school. I actually got engaged earlier last month. Looking for a job now, so school I'll be done with next Tuesday, so lots of big things happening for me, trying to plan a wedding, finding a job, finishing up school, all kinds of crazy stuff for me. Obviously, I'm quite a bit excited for what's going on, but stressful. Regardless, the International is currently going on right now for Dota 2, and that really got me excited and motivated to finish up this episode. It's been something I've had on my to-do list for quite some time, but finally getting a chance to take care of it now. Anyway, let's talk about Blizzard All-Stars. So again, we've got a score screenshot from Rob Pardo that I'm going to be talking about. Quite a bit of information can be extrapolated from it. We'll touch base on that in a little bit. First, I wanted to talk about the ActivisionBlizzard second quarter conference call. Mike Morhaime got a chance to briefly talk about Blizzard All-Stars. Basically, nothing huge, but he did mention that a lot of major milestones were hit inside the company. They're also going to be able to open it up to a wider testing base, again, internally, inside the company. Other than that, we should hear more about it soon. Soon, later this year. To me, that means we're going to hear more about it at BlizzCon, which is about 3 months away. Now, there have been some cinematics guys talking on Twitter saying they just finished up some huge cinematics, so I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that's for Blizzard All-Stars for the BlizzCon showing. Otherwise, it could potentially be for Diablo 3 at Gamescom. We're not really sure what's going on there quite yet. But again, like I said, crossing my fingers for Blizzard All-Stars. Anyway, let's talk about this screenshot. Pretty big stuff, actually. Why don't we go ahead and take a look? So my apologies, it's kind of blurry. But most people are going to look at the screenshot and say, hey, cool, it's a score screen. You can see the gold earned, and the level the hero acquired, and the hero kills. Quite a bit of information can actually be extrapolated from that, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So again, my apologies, this was released back in February, but this is a much, much more recent image than the previous one that I worked with, I believe in episode 4. So let's check that one out for comparison. As you can see here, much nicer quality, but again, we'll work with what we've got, no big deal. So let's start off little by little. First things first, at the very bottom, and I'm going to draw on the screen, the health and mana bars used to be up here and up here. Now they were moved down below. Not a huge change, but something I definitely did want to point out. Again, these are our 4 skill slots. These are our 4 item slots, which we've known about. Here and here, these 2 right here, the boots and what appears to be a Hearthstone symbol. Again, I had gone under the assumption that that was to teleport back home and to mount up. Again, the icons were different in the old screenshot. Let's take a look at that. See? It appears to be a blink icon from a Stalker, and I believe the Charge Zealot icon, maybe the old one. I could be wrong. No big deal. Anyway, again, I assumed this was for teleporting and this was for mounting up. Turns out that almost confirms that's the case. Again, this is the Hearthstone. What does a Hearthstone do? Returns you to home in World of Warcraft. And what does this do? It's the Boots of Travel icon from the old Dota. That almost, again, certainly confirms that that is going to be the case. So I'm 99% sure. Take it with a grain of salt still, I suppose, because, again, we're just looking at an image, but it seems to be the case. So let's see what else we can extrapolate from here. There actually looks like another item icon. I'm not entirely sure what that's supposed to be. It's the old Demon Edge icon from Dota All-Stars. Now, as you can see, it's kind of separated right here. So these are your items, and these are your skills, and these are the other skill slots, or whatever, in common hero skills, whatever we're going to call them. I have no idea what this is supposed to be. So that's going to be hanging out there on the side for the time being. I'd also like to mention that there are some new icons here next to the minimap. Of course, we have the ping icon and some new icons here. I don't know what these are for. It could just be because this might be a replay or something along those lines. We've got the Battle.net icons up here. And again, just for reference, as you can see, those icons are gone and the Battle.net icons are missing as well. This is probably taken through the editor, though, or maybe perhaps even in single player where those don't even show up. So that does it for the interface. And of course, this is still the same. So that does it for the interface. The top score is still exactly the same. Let's talk about the meat of this, the actual score screen. Very interesting. This is where the bulk of the information is going to be extrapolated from. Again, most people would look at this and say, gee, it's just a score screen. What's so cool about that? Quite a bit of information can be taken from it, so let's take a look. So I'm going to start off on this side. So first things first, we can see the enemy core is under attack. That means that the Ancient is now being called a core. Not huge information, but certainly something new. At least we know what to call them. I'd also like to point out that a lot of this stuff we've known about, but this kind of confirms it. Previously, we were just assuming things like hero kills, total takedowns, essentially the same thing, your deaths, gold acquired, etc. Those are all going to be things that experience. Those are all going to be things that we assumed would be there, but never really had, some kind of confirmation. So this is very meaty for us. So here we've got gold earned, we've got towers destroyed, hero kills is number 3, ogre camps killed, ogre camps taken, and this third one I can't really see. It almost looks like it says ogre nodes dominated, which actually would make sense, although this appears to be one word that I actually can't read because it's too blurry. So it's ogre something dominated. Then of course we've got the ogre king gold from killing the ogre kings, and then this last one, very, very interesting, mules made. So that's something brand new. What could a mule possibly do? Well, it seems like it gathers gold. What that has to do with Blizzard All-Stars, I mean, aside from gathering gold for items, I have no idea how a mule would help out. Certainly something to keep in mind. So we're going to have to wait for more information on that, I suppose. Otherwise, let's take a look at the center. So, at the very top, Raven Court with the time. So as you can see down here at the mini-map, this is a brand new map. Certainly something very interesting and to take into account. So this goes back to the fact that Blizzard had said that there are going to be several maps. Now, we had no idea what maps they could possibly be. We knew that Blizzard was considering things like maybe Molten Core with Onyxia the Dragon as the boss. Maybe you fight in Tristram. All something within possibility, but nothing we've actually seen. So, certainly interesting. Raven Court is the new map. We have no idea what the old one is called. Not a big deal, though. So, let's see. What else could we talk about here? So your team and enemy teams, maybe they just haven't given them names yet. Not a big deal. At least they're not being called Radiant and Dire or Sentinel and Scourge. Although they are still being called your team and enemy team. I really hope Blizzard gives those names just for the sake of being able to talk about, how are you supposed to commentate it? Hey, it's your team versus the enemy team. Well, that doesn't really make sense. We'll probably end up going with red versus blue. Regardless, I hope that they give them some kind of a name. Otherwise, you can see their level here. This guy's level 80, so that's certainly very interesting. It's quite above the original maximum that we had. Takedowns per hero, or perhaps takedowns the hero was involved in, rather, along with their deaths. And then, of course, we have their items. Now, it's kind of odd here, because you only have 4 item slots, but there is 10 possible icons to be had here. Now, I'm not entirely sure what the distinction is here. Again, we see this old Demon Edge icon that's kind of off to the side. Very, very interesting, because perhaps this could be an item. Now, I don't know what this bottom row is for, nor do I have any idea what this number could possibly be. Again, we've got 258 and 663. I don't have no idea what that could potentially mean. Very interesting, though. Again, I'm sorry, I have no idea. Like, I wish I knew that this was for, or even had some kind of a clue, but again, we're working with what we've got. So for the time being, I'm just going to point out everything I can see that's brand new information. I'd also like to point out that looks like there's a 3 versus 3, so perhaps it could just be that this map was a 3v3, or even that you're allowed to play with any number of players per team. If it's the opposite one, if there's a 3v3 game mode on this particular map, it's sort of reminiscent of League of Legends, where you can choose different maps with different game modes, in that there are different numbers of players per team. Very interesting. Possibly new heroes? I have no idea who this guy and this guy are. Again, we've got Kerrigan. We've got Kerrigan here, we've got Arthas, we've got Warfield, another Kerrigan, and then we've got this guy and this guy. Now, because their icons could be slightly different, it's certainly possible that these people could be Zagara and the Witch Doctor. But again, it's very hard to tell based on this icon and the fact that it's quite blurry. Otherwise, guys, I'm thinking that might be it for this particular screenshot. I think that might be everything we can extrapolate from here. Again, we see some of these old items. There's about 16 items, plus the few consumables. All interesting stuff. We've got the auto turret. Now, the auto turret is different from the mule, obviously. So I'm curious as to what it is the mule could possibly be, so maybe that's your takeaway thought. Why don't you guys leave that in the comments? What do you think the mule could possibly do? Aside from the obvious gives you gold. Because there really are no mineral patches to gather resources from, so it's certainly interesting as to what the mule might be able to do. And it seems somewhat off-balanced. I'm pretty sure all the Protoss and Zerg players out there are going to think the same thing. Anyway, guys, I hope this was somewhat enjoyable. Again, I'm sorry the screenshot was blurry. It was all we had to work with. If you guys enjoyed the video, like it, subscribe to the channel. There's going to be a ton more content. I'm crossing my fingers again, hoping that there's some kind of a show match at BlizzCon rather. That would be a ton of fun. I'd love to be involved in that. So Blizzard, if you're listening, definitely keep that in mind. Otherwise, guys, like I said, like the video, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Twitter @Sixen. There's definitely going to be more content coming for you. Soon TM, as Blizzard likes to put it. So whenever you hear more information, you can expect a video from me. Alright, guys, take it easy, and see you next time.